Oh, yeah. Comments.
This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Colby Valve.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 451, Alcan and a Grenadier.
Tonight, Aaron tries on a spare, Coy springs a leak, and Ben plays Pop Goes the Weasel.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are Aaron, and my name is Ben. And tonight, we are joined by Andy and Mercedes Lowenthal. Welcome to the show. So, Aaron, I gotta hear about this spare.
I was hoping you'd go first because I thought like maybe you were involved in a tornado. Something happened behind you.
Well, yes, something did. Notice there's nothing behind me.
There's no Forerunner. There's no minivan. There's no trailers.
Yes, I've been.
Your shop is empty.
Have you been robbed?
I've not.
I was wondering the same thing, but I didn't want to ask.
No, actually, so the boys spent the night in the shop. I've got a projector I put up on the screen so they get like 100 inches of video to watch. And but they didn't put everything away, and I'm refusing. And then I was also working in here, so much so that I had to travel through time. It was estimated that I would get these pile of parts done in 2026, and I got some springs done. Look at that flex right there.
Is it because there's no springs that it's flexing that much?
Well, there's one spring on one side.
I see, and there's a spring on the ground.
And a spring on the ground, and a jack lifting up one side, and a jack on the other side pushing it down, so that I could fit those shocks in there, or springs in there. And then the pop that went with the weasel was I kicked this bad boy off to the curb. I got it out.
Look at that dent.
That is an impressive dent. Yes. I should have got a picture of the other side. That
thing is caved in. So
it was so caved in and putting so much force that bolt that rounded. Well, when I extracted it with that nut extractor or bolt extractor, it snapped at like an eighth of a turn, and the skid plate came flying towards my face.
Ooh.
Oh.
But on the better news of that, my gas tank is nice and flat, so there's no residual dent. But you can see where the dent was with all that rust marking. And well, children, 2026 has come. I've traveled through time and came back with a skid plate on the Forerunner.
Did you have to get it up to 88 miles an hour to do this?
I don't know if that's possible.
Well,
but I had to do some nut certs on 2 spots and use my air hammer. I've got to pop some of those welds, but I got it in. I now officially have all my skid plates on, and it's nice with those. What are they? They're the Alcan Overland springs that I got off of a buddy for $100. No sag in the rear with the trailer. I moved the trailer because we're getting ready to pull it into the shop and park it after we finish cleaning it out and prepping it for our camping trip for spring break. So I had to I just loaded everything in it, or I've got it outside. We cleaned it out. We're loading everything in it tonight or tomorrow, and then pulling it in the shop and letting it sit in here so it's nice and dry while it rains later this week. So yeah, that was lots of fun. And then I also installed some Kings on Pete's truck for him with a little bit of help. And my arms hurt. getting that lower shock mount in, because those boys are thick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got an award at work.
Look at that guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
What
does it say? It
says awesome job.
Awesome job. Didn't hit anything in the last 24 hours.
No,
You
it's
gotta start somewhere.
above and beyond. Above and beyond.
You jumped stuff.
Yeah, I
the
jumped
bus.
some stuff in the
You
bus.
went above and beyond with the
Okay.
bus.
Yeah,
Last time we had Andy and Mercedes on, we talked about, maybe it wasn't last time, but one of the last times they did the Alcan, we talked about them. It was the summer Alcan, and we talked about them doing the jump over the river that was washed
Jump
out.
over the
Oh,
river.
the apparent,
Yep.
what was it, Liard River, I think, or
I think
something.
so.
the
Yeah, the attempted, or if somebody could try, that we might
Yeah.
try.
Yeah. And Ben had a petition going for you guys to have to build your Subaru yourself.
Yeah. He had a great
At
illustration of a ramp too.
Yeah.
So.
Change.org.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's exciting, Ben. You got a pizza party too with it?
We had pizza at work actually that day. It was so we have like teachers have in-service days, and so like kids get the days off. I get the day partially off, not really. I still work my 5 hours, but I go in and first thing in the morning and I work through it. So we just had like training and a meeting, and then we were free to go. So it was a nice short day.
They have you guys do the maintenance on the bus and stuff.
If you're
changing the brakes and stuff.
No. If they
banging out skid plates,
we have
Yeah.
for that. We have mechanics for that. No, usually if like our time is longer, like if you have more time than that, they'll like, hey, go wash your bus or clean it out, stuff like that. The stuff that the mechanics aren't
Lots of
supposed to do.
windows.
Yes,
Lots of windows in a bus to have to wash.
it is a lot of windows to wash, and a backup camera, keeping that little lens clear if you have to use it, because it kind of sucks when you need it and you can't see out of it.
Can you reach
Yeah.
it? I mean, how tall is that? Because I'm like vertically challenged.
So depending upon the bus, it might have a swing out door in the back, and you can reach up with a rag and clean it.
Yeah.
If not, there's a step stool that you can use. And
that would be my best friend right there. Step stool.
yeah, but it's kind of scary how some people are with their buses on cleaning them. Like there's one guy, I saw some moss growing on the bottoms of his windows. I'm like, come on, man.
Whoa.
Wow. Got to teach him lessons.
Yeah.
Well, see, he's old enough to have been teaching my parents and possibly my grandparents lessons about how to clean their bus. So
Wow.
he's old and it's winter and he's not going to do it right now. So Aaron, should we talk about Koi?
Well, there's not much to talk about. You got a video to show? You may have to play it a few times because it's short.
Yes.
Koi's not here. He had a work emergency.
Yep. Did he spring oil? Is he rich?
That looked too clean to be oil.
Yeah.
So
Let's check that again. That looks like that might be water.
Yeah, not the old Texas tea.
No Texas tea there.
Wallet and tea, I guess, around here maybe. But anyway.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he had a last minute emergency at work, so no Koi tonight.
Yeah. So the listeners that heard what all it sounded like was static, that was a picture of a hole in the ground with several pipes, and one of those pipes was spraying water at a very high rate.
Yeah.
It looked like it could cut your fingers in half. It was coming out of there pretty quick, like a pressure washer. So yeah, no Koi tonight. That's all right. That's all right. He could use the night off and go have fun playing in a mud hole. Ben, you asked me earlier what I was up to trying on a spare. So I mentioned last week on the show that I was going to get my truck out on the road, my Nissan, and go try on a set of the brand new Bronco Badlands beadlock ready wheels. I've got a friend Coy has a friend, and I'm kind of friends with him also. We did a the trip last summer where we went down to McGrew Trail, and he was on it. He's got a very new 2-door Bronco, and he's got the right wheels. So I reached out to him and said, hey, can I try them on? Went to his house after work, and I'll pull up the pictures here.
Is it the
So here is
red 2-door Bronco?
Yeah, it's a red 2-door Bronco.
Okay, that's the same guy I went to Christmas with.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's gone on several trips with Coy. So here, it's hard to tell, but it did fit. So the concern was it is a plus 55 offset, which will suck the barrel of the wheel in some. So it pulled it in not much, but a little bit. That's a 12.5-inch 35 basically. But it fit. And this picture shows it's got just enough clearance on the upper control arm.
Wow. Dude, I was going to say, wow.
Yeah. There's about half to 3/4 of an inch there.
What's the factory offset?
I don't know, because I'm running Nissan Titan stuff up front. So I'm 3 inches. Right. I'm 3 inches wider than I'm supposed to be.
Yep.
So but I think the factory offset on the Titan is a positive 27 or 23, somewhere in the 20s.
Oh, okay.
So this adds a little bit more inboard than that. And then
you worried about oh no, that's gonna move with it. I was like thinking that was the bucket, but no, that's just the control arm.
Yeah. And then here's a picture from the side. I think they're good looking wheels. They're an OEM beadlock ready wheel, which is pretty dope. I haven't shared this with anybody other than my podcast friends. So this is kind of the debut of testing it out on a Nissan Titan setup. So I'm going to share this out to the Nissan world, because right now people are dumping these wheels. You can get all 5 of them OEM takeoffs for $500.
Yeah, wow. That's a smoking deal.
That's a really good deal.
It doesn't have the so it's got a beauty ring on it. It doesn't have the beadlock ring. Those beadlock rings are about $850 for a set of 5 of those. So you're looking at just over $1,200 for beadlock wheels, which is still cheaper than buying aftermarket beadlock wheels.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I'd like to take this moment to remind you that it's never too early to talk to your children about wheel offsets.
It is never too early.
It's an important thing.
Anyway. And if you don't have children, talk to your cats about it.
True. Talk to yourself about it.
I was going to say inanimate objects work too.
Yeah, you just talk in the mirror, like you look in the mirror in the morning after you get out of the shower and just have a conversation.
Yeah.
Positive
offset.
Something like
move it in.
Positive affirmations by something
Jack
mini.
Handy.
Yeah, Jack Handy. Yeah. Oh God, did I just date myself?
Yeah. Anyway.
Montana Dirt Road says, what trail was that? Maybe he's asking about when I mentioned the McGrew. So McGrew is a trail in Southern Oregon. It's locked. You have to go apply to go on it. It's free to apply, free to get in, but there's a list. So, and then this past summer, shortly after we were on it, it got burned to the ground. So yeah. Leroy Overlanding says, Andy, totally off topic, but I looked at a Mitsubishi Pajero Mini last week because of you. Sadly, I didn't buy it, but I will own one someday. So
very cool. Very cool. I stole the Pajero last week. So actually
it wasn't the Mini. It wasn't the Mini, but
yeah.
It wasn't a Mini. Yeah.
Yeah. It was it was a 2-door, but yeah, the Minis are super cool. The Juniors are registerable in Oregon because we can't have K cars here. But yeah, anyway.
I mean, you can with proper out-of-state registration.
Yeah, we're not going to go into that subject right now.
Besides test fitting the Bronco wheels on the way to work that morning, my muffler fell off again. Oh. I had tied the back of it up with baling wire, so it drug on the ground for about 100 yards before I got pulled over. Mufflers are surprisingly hot when you pick them up off the side of the road. I actually even put gloves on just in case it was going to be hot, and it was very hot, like
Yeah.
hot
You
potato
need
hot. I
glove
was like
glove.
juggling
So
it.
you said you
The
got
of glove, yeah.
Glove, and then you could just,
Yeah.
Aaron, you said you got pulled over? Or
No.
pulled over?
No, where I pulled over.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you got
I
pulled
didn't-
over
I
too.
did-
I was like,
That's what we said.
No, I didn't get pulled over. No.
I was gonna say, damn, Aaron, you're really going for it.
Yeah. And then I got a new book in the mail. Is the third book of the books that I ordered through SA. Who are those people? Whoever the people are. I got this one. It's called the Overlanding Vehicle Builder's Guide. Builder's Guide. And it's CarTech. That's what I'm trying to think of.
There we go.
CarTech. And I got this one because I did not expect much out of this one. In fact, I thought that we may be kind of pulling some jokes because, like, some people are like they take it way too serious, and they shouldn't. This is thumbing through it. There is so much good information in here, and it's got a lot of information not only on doing overland stuff, but about suspension builds and camp kitchen gear. This is going to be a really good read. I'm super looking forward to it. It's actually pretty thick for being what it is. It's got color pictures in it, tires, wheels, talks about trailers. It talks about all kinds of stuff. So I'll be reading it. I'll let you guys know what I think about it. This guy, I think that we'll try to have him on the show to talk about this book. I think that'd be a whole lot of fun. Ask him questions. I've already found the author is Don Alexander. So I've not heard of him. He's definitely an older gentleman. So he says he's a proprietor of a Jeep 4x4. Of the Jeep 4x4 school. That's the proper name of it. So he's trained thousands of people in off-road driving, and he holds the land speed record of 222 miles an hour for a diesel pickup.
Wow,
So,
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's neat. Huh, haven't heard of him. I'll have to look him up.
he's authored 18 books and written more than 1,000 magazine articles. So that's pretty wild.
Cool.
Wow. I'll definitely have to look him up.
He needs to have a talk with his editor, though, because one of the very first pictures, this upper corner, it talks about this Toyota Tundra, and you guys can probably clearly see that it is a Tacoma.
Okay. A Tacoma?
Yeah.
Yeah. Need to have a word with his editor. But if that's the only mistake in the book, he's doing good.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to reading that one. Welcome, Raggle Fraggle. You haven't missed much. Yeah.
Ben's traveled.
Annie Mercedes.
Yeah.
What have you done anything off-road related in the past 7 days? Don't go beyond that. Only 7 days is your limit. Think.
Yes. I sold an off-road vehicle, as I previously mentioned.
I've walked through our bark dust or what's left of it in the garden.
That doesn't count. So
It's off-road walking.
so it's hiking. Anyway.
Did you went for a hike in your bark dust?
Yeah, in the bark
Kind of,
dust.
yeah.
Yeah. So no, we sold our '92 Mitsubishi Pajero.
Our first love.
It went to a good home.
That's
And
good to
then so we still have our '91 Mitsubishi Pajero and
The one that did the 2020 Alcan 5000
and
rally.
our '94 Delica, and then we have our cross track on KO2s and all that stuff. But otherwise,
And you recently bought.
I bought we bought a not off-road vehicle. We bought a 2005 Subaru Forester XT that's
tuned,
bought, not built, and
Bought, not built.
yeah, I didn't
But
build this one.
it'll be further.
It already had a bunch of more stuff on it, but it's a lot of go fast parts, lots of suspension parts. So it boogies, and so it's fun to have a car that boogies again, because it's been a long time since I've had anything with more than like 120 horsepower. So anyway.
Yeah, we basically sold our Subaru WRX and then persisted to buy three Mitsubishis that
had
just
less
about
than 100
had-
horsepower.
Yeah, that just about equaled what our Subaru WRX had. So
but this is going to be an on-road car. It's not. This is going to stay on sticky tires and all that stuff. So, but
yes, do it.
yes,
That's exciting.
But
we resurrected our wine country, Oregon wine country license plates that we had. They have a really low number on them. So we resurrected them and put them on the Forester. And so it's a fun car.
yeah, I did. The wiper arms were very rusty. So yesterday I ground the rust off and, primed, painted, cleared, all that stuff. So
But tell them about the hood scoop.
oh yeah, and I put on the JDM hood scoop that I got with the vehicle, so it's bigger and grabs more air. But like I said, it's an on-road car. But yeah, in terms of off-road stuff, before we sold the 92 Pajero, we swapped over some things from it to the 91. So the JW speaker headlights, for example, PS Goodrich KO3s, so KM3s, excuse me.
KM3s.
Okay.
Hey, KO3s would be nice to have.
Yeah,
at
but,
some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's got the KM3s on it now, and then it's all set for adventure. So I'm looking forward to hitting the trails this spring, summer, anytime.
Yeah.
So.
Get out there.
So you guys have what, 2 Subarus now and 2
Subarus, 2 Mitsubishi.
Yep. Mitsubishis. There we go.
Yep.
So the one Subaru is our go everywhere car on KO2s and full skids and lights and all that stuff.
Yep.
And then obviously
that's our rally
obviously
rig.
Yeah, that's what we do a lot of our TSD rallies in. So
Time to dirt fish it, right?
you bet.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun. Well, we got some voicemails. Ben, do you want to play those? We got 2 voicemails this week to play.
Yeah, let's start off with this first one.
Hi, what's up, guys? I would do that bulldozer that guy made to go ahead and run over the town. That's what I would do. Yeah, bulldozer that the guy did. He ran over his town, welded it up in his garage, and went over the county commissioner building and all those houses. That's what I'd do to get to Florida.
So in reference, that is from our episode, our apocalyptic, what do we call those? Our
A bug out vehicle.
Hypothetical bug out vehicle episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like listening to it. I'm like, oh man, this dude's really mad at his local government. And then I was like, oh, okay, he's going to Florida with us.
Yeah.
So yes, made me laugh. I was happy to hear that voicemail. And it was a busy day for the voicemail because we got another one.
Hi, I've been listening for a little bit now, and I still haven't figured out what kind of vehicles you guys drive. I mean, I know there's a Nissan, a Toyota, and an FJ, but don't know anything else about them. I only listen. I don't watch. Don't try and make me watch. I won't do it because I can't. So I have eyes. I just listen while I drive. So anyways, let's get some rig rundowns. I'd like to know the details, the dirty details, colors, tires, wheels, axles, if there are any, gear settings, all that stuff, all the fun stuff, even setups inside, interior, how many cup holders you got, how many phone holders, you running iPads, you running phones, how's your navigation, how's your comms, all that stuff, let me know. Lights, everyone loves lights, let's hear about those. All right, thanks, bye.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
love it.
I was really hoping to hear about your valve clearances personally, but
Oh yeah, that was a fun voicemail to get too.
Which is that's a lot for for a listener feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, but he's interested in your rigs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really cool.
That's the important part.
Especially from an audio perspective, that's really cool to say, hey, this is Aaron's rig, this is Ben's rig, this is Coy's rig, and go. I mean,
we've done one of those episodes. It's been several months now since we've done one of those. May even been a year ago. We didn't go into that amount of detail, so I figured maybe I'd just throw one detail out here until we get to do another show like this. I like to run 45 psi in my tires, so there's one bit of detail. Ben, why don't you pick an item from your truck or your Tacoma?
How many cup holders?
Forerunner.
I have 6 cup holders in my Forerunner.
Okay, all right. Annie and Mercedes, you guys want to pick? You guys each pick a different vehicle and give us
Wait. I got one more I
Oh.
want to give.
Oh, Ben's
All right.
going to do a bonus.
All
one.
right, because this is a good one. I want you to imagine a baby that has crapped their diaper and it's crawled up their back. That is the color of my Forerunner.
Yes. Although the sun has taken effect and mellowed that color out quite a bit and is more khaki color now than
Yep, it is
originated.
definitely more khaki than it was originally when
Yeah.
it was first painted. And soon it's going to be a new color. So I'll have to come up with a very descriptive phrase for that one.
Wow.
All right. So you guys each pick one, but it cannot be the chime in your Delica that tells you you're going too fast.
Oh no, that one's long gone. That one's been sold.
Go ahead.
So
Oh.
I will take the 1991 Mitsubishi Pajero that went to the Arctic Ocean. One of the things we have is an auxiliary diesel tank. So we have two diesel tanks in our Pajero, one stock one and then an auxiliary one. So we have double the fuel capacities and two filler necks. And those were the auxiliary tank was sourced from Australia. It's Japanese domestic market vehicle and used in North America. And you had to basically drill out the openings to make them fit because the Australian filler necks and the openings are smaller than what we use here in North America. So it was a real process to put them all in, but little known fact.
You couldn't. So the filler nozzle from the diesel pump would not go in.
Correct.
Oh, interesting.
And just because I had like almost 20 years of commercial interior design experience, I'm really good with measurements and eyeballing space and things like that. I'm like, I took one look at that filler neck before they were putting it in. I'm like, because I was there documenting the install because we're journalists and photographers, and I was writing an article and helping them for install instructions. I was like, that doesn't look right. I'm like, can I just take that like filler neck and go down to the fuel station, which is of course 15 minutes away, and just test fit it? And sure enough, I was like, think. I'm like, oh crap. Think. I'm like, called him. I'm like, I'll be right back. Hold on the project. We got problems. Yeah. But,
good eye.
Yeah. So
how about you, Andy?
Let's see. So I'll talk about our 94 Mitsubishi Delica Space Gear.
What are you gonna say about that?
Well, I was just going to say it's a little bit of a rarity among Delicas because it has the 2.8 liter turbo diesel engine, the 4M40, but it has the V5 M31. I believe it is 5-speed manual transmission. So it's a van with a manual transmission. The V5 M31 MT1, I can't even remember. It doesn't matter. The 5-speed is pretty rare in those vans, and so it's cool to have the 5-speed.
Yeah,
fun. It's a vanual.
A vanual.
I like that. Yes. I like that.
That was so corny.
It's fantastic.
So
yeah, fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. Oh my God, we're gonna be full of it by the end of this evening.
All right. Well, I didn't get names for either of those two people that called in. I do want to thank you guys for calling in. I'd love to get more people calling in. We'll answer your questions. If you got an idea for a show like what the second caller had, we'll absolutely do it if it's something up our sleeve, if it's something we can tackle. And if it isn't, maybe we find somebody that can help us do that show. So like wheel offsets, we'll call Andy again.
The wealth of useless knowledge. Actually, not really.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month.
Did you get your patch in the mail, Aaron?
Yep, I sure did.
Yeah, me too. I like it. Leprechaun on a skateboard. All luck, no skill. Nods. Yep, I like it. And we must not forget our news.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
All right. Well, we've got one news story this week for you, and it comes to us from Carbuzz, and it is titled "Kia is going Tacoma hunting with the new Tasman." So, after months of rumors, Kia finally confirmed that they would build a pickup called the Tasman. There we go. There's a great photo of it. I think it's a really cool looking front end on that truck.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is a render. I don't know if it's a rendering or if they've got some. It's got to be a rendering. I love the headlights too. I like good quality headlights. I don't know about you guys. I like headlights that light up the road for safety, mostly safety.
Yeah.
The Tasman will be built on a ladder frame chassis like every other midsize pickup truck in the USA, except the Honda Ridgeline. Kia chose the Ford Ranger as the benchmark. While the clear leader in the segment is the Tacoma, Kia chose the Ranger because the Tasman is being developed in Australia, where the Ranger is top dog.
Yeah, it almost looks a little Ranger-ish, like even the hood vent or the fender vent. I was like,
yeah, they do.
Is that a thing, or is that like, are we looking at like a did somebody use a Ranger as a model here or what? But just looking at some photos online here, I've seen a few variants of this. So that the yellow looks good though.
I like that color yellow too. Yeah.
I'm just wondering how long it's going to take the Kia boys to start commandeering them once they're here.
The Kia boys, were they gonna steal it with a USB cord?
Yeah.
So the Tasman shares a clear design and ladder frame underpinnings with the Kia Borrego, known to the Americans as the Mojave. The second generation might not be sold stateside, but in markets that it is sold, it features a robust 3-liter diesel V6 that has 252 horsepower, 347 foot-pounds of torque, which is quite a bit. If it does come to the US, Kia would have no problem shoehorning in the 3.8-liter naturally aspirated V6 from the Telluride, which produces 291 horsepower, 262 foot-pounds of torque, which is about average or maybe even a little low for the segment that's going on out there right now.
Yeah.
They could also throw in the 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-banger from the Sorento, which is 281 horsepower, which is less horsepower, but it's got 311 foot-pounds of torque.
That seems to make more sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, especially with Chevy and GMC and Ford offering a Turbo 4, that seems to make a lot of sense.
Yep. Jeep's doing it
too. Yeah.
Says shoehorning the Kia Stinger's twin turbo V6 under the hood would be the best move. I mean, looking at Andy's shirt, I would totally agree with that shirt.
United by horsepower.
Yep.
For sale. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Nice. It says that would be the best possible move because when earlier in this article, when they mentioned that Kia is using the Ranger as the benchmark, they are actually using the Ranger Raptor as the benchmark, which is kind of cool. So if you want to go faster, you would use that twin turbo V6, which has 368 horsepower. So that would be a lot of fun.
It would be.
And the last bit of this article says that people don't think of Kias as an off-road brand. Most of its SUVs are pavement crawlers, but it has a history of building iconic 4x4s. The most well-known example is the Kia Borrego, which was an extremely cheap Lexus GX. It had a V8 engine, permanent four-wheel drive, low range, and an air suspension when it was sold stateside. You can pick one up these days for $7,000, and they make great, cheap 4x4 project vehicles. I don't know much about them other than Leroy Overlanding built one up with an LS engine in it, and I don't remember if he put solid axles under his or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. So looking forward to this truck. I hope it shakes up the market. The more competition out there, I think the better for everybody.
Totally.
So,
As long as it doesn't have like the Tellurides off-road package with that 0.4 inches of lift, I'll be happy. And stickers and 20-inch wheels. Yeah, you can do better. You can. I have faith.
well, let's jump into the main topic.
Yeah, let's do that. So last time we had you guys on episodes 243, 245, 252, 360, and 374.
Just a few times.
Once or twice, you know.
Repeat
Yeah.
offenders.
Yep. The first one was way back in 2020, over 4 years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So let's talk some more Alcan. What are the different classes and what are you competing in?
Yeah. So there's basically it's kind of segmented this way where you've got a class for cars and a class for trucks and SUVs, and then those two classes fall into either an unlimited class that allows you to run rally computers that do all these calculations for you,
Or apps.
and then a class called SOP, which stands for
Seat of pants.
which doesn't allow all that stuff. It allows
Which is like us.
a calculator
Or
and a
me.
pencil. So we ran the 2024 Alcan 5000 in an Ineos Grenadier.
Trial master.
Trial master, yeah. So, and we ran in, that is it.
Yeah, that's us.
In Elderet Blue. And so we ran that actual vehicle and starts in Kirkland, Washington, and went up to Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, over to Whitehorse and Yukon, and then finishes in Anchorage, but not before going up to Fairbanks. And we went as far as the Coldfoot, past the Arctic Circle, halfway to Dead Horse. So,
right. There are optional routes that we took, which are basically called extreme control challenges that some teams can do if they wanted extra points, if they're in it to win it, or garner as many points that they can to help their standings. And of course, Andy and I, when we do the Alcan 5000 rally, we opt to do everything because, you know, we're extreme that way. So of course we did everything, including Coldfoot.
So it should also be noted that this is a competition based on time, speed, distance rally. So it's not who gets there fastest. It's who gets there going through the most checkpoints at precisely the right time. So it's all about going through checkpoints at exact time. It's like golf. You want a score of 0. So if you arrive early, you're penalized. If you arrive late, you're penalized. So getting through it at the exact time is crucial.
And it's all on public roads, and it's all during traffic. They don't close the roads down, right? So, I mean, you start at 8 a.m. or 7:30 or 9 a.m. or whatever, but you know, you can be within traffic. You can hit a stoplight and go, oh my God, I need to go. But then you need to take a time allowance, or, you know, you can hit the random whiteout that just blows you off. And you're like, oh God, I can't see. I don't even know where I'm at. And you don't want to run off a cliff. Not like you're going to run off a cliff, but I mean, there are things that can happen that slows you down naturally because you just don't know. Or, you know, we've, like the summer Alcan, we've hit cow herds, and you know, it's like, oh, you just can't mow through a herd of 20 cows. So what do? You know, you just roll with it.
So how do you guys know where you need to drive if you're all going off the paper?
So everybody gets a route book. So it's a pretty thick route book.
Right.
It has 5,000 miles worth of directions and tells you where to turn, what to look for, and all that stuff. And you're doing 5,000 miles in 10 days, so averaging 500 miles a day. Obviously, some are shorter, but we had one day that was about 650 miles with only 2 fuel stops, and we had quite the headwind. So we had to dip into the old jerry cans that day.
Yeah.
So the Grenadier has gets about 15 miles a gallon, and when it was super windy a couple of days, that went down to about 13 miles a gallon. And so our usual range was about 300, 320, but not during those headwinds. So,
but we didn't necessarily know what the range would be. And didn't the range say above 250?
it would say like, you've got greater than 280 miles.
So we didn't know. And we were like, we kind of needed to know. So
we had 10
Yeah.
gallons on 10 gallons of extra fuel on the roof. So.
right. The winter Alcan 5000 rally mandates that you have to have at least 5 gallons of extra petrol or diesel. That has to be, because in the Arctic, in winter, the weather tries to kill you at every given opportunity. So, we decided to carry 10 gallons because we knew that it needed more fuel, and we wanted to be careful, if not for us, for other people. In 2022, when we were with Subaru and we had the Outback Wilderness, we ended up giving 5 gallons of premium to a fellow Subaru, one of our buddy cars, because they didn't have enough to make it to the next fuel stop. So we donated. That's just what you do. I mean,
Absolutely.
do it. I mean, you just help each other out. That's just what you do.
Especially in the winter one, nobody gets left behind. We had the rally master, Jerry Hines, had a Toyota Sequoia with more than 250,000 miles on it that he was going to be selling up there.
Mm-hmm.
And he lost a heater hose, the plastic T that connected the heater hose, basically just disintegrated. And so he pulled over, and we came across him. About 5 or 6 other ralliers had already stopped, and they were doing Alcan 5000 bushcraft on the side of the road to
major highway, mind you.
Yeah, the highway going to Alaska, not too far from the border.
Or what highway was it?
I don't remember.
Can't remember what name of the
And
highway
so,
was.
But anyway, what they ended up doing was taking a handle off of a screwdriver and grinding it down and plugging up one of the lines to get a closed loop again. But it was minus 15 degrees out Fahrenheit, and which wasn't as cold as we saw it. We saw minus 37, but
still temperature.
But even with 5 or 6 cars and people working, semi truck would still stop and be like, "You guys all okay?" And you're like, "Yep." And like, "Okay."
Wow.
And so you just don't leave people stranded, and you help fellow motorists.
It's a dry cold, though. It's not like that wet cold. It's a dry cold.
No.
Yeah, it's not like 45 and rainy here in Portland, but
yeah. What type of preparations did you guys make to the Grenadier before you took off?
So it was mostly stock, but we did have the coolant changed out to a 60-40 coolant water mixture that would lower the freezing temperature down to about 63 below zero. We also added a couple of oil pan heaters. We actually didn't use them, but we had them. And then
just in case.
Yeah, we had a whole host of factory accessory. Well, one other big thing that we did was we changed the KO2 tires out to a Michelin Excise snow tire.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we went studless. But we kept the same factory tire size, and those tires did awesome in the snow and ice. I was truly surprised how good those tires did. So
it kept us so steady and so stable.
Yeah.
I never felt once that we were like, and I mean, we were on a lot of sheet ice most of the time.
And so we also added a roof rack, which was the Rhino Rack Pioneer platform. Yep. We also used their dual jerry can holder.
You can see it being set up. We were test fitting. Yeah, there you go. That's in finished condition.
And then we got a couple of jerry cans there. Max tracks. We had Fact 55 recovery gear, as well as what else?
For communications, we
rugged radios.
Rugged radios are handheld radios too,
and their antennas.
Ended up mounting their antennas, which actually have a really nifty system. So on the roof rack, they have a flip down system.
That's
so we
Rhino
have
rack.
Yeah. So we don't have them mounted yet on the Rhino rack, but we can talk to
on this photo.
Yeah, on that photo, we can talk to that. So they have a really cool flip down system where it literally, you just loosen a wing nut, isn't it, Andy? Just a wing nut where you loosen it, and then you can flip down 3 foot tall antennas. So when you want to stow it, and so we literally, when we needed to ship it, we just literally flipped them down, tightened the wing nut, and away you went. And so since our setup was temporary, we ended up just stowing it, tightened the wing nut, and we gorilla taped everything, right? So the cabling back into, we just had handhelds because we wanted to use the handhelds for other vehicles because, mind you, we have 3 vehicles that we still use them in, so we don't have anything hard mounted. And the rugged radios just proved great. And we have a dealership that is close to us, actually in Portland, Oregon, where we live, that is called RTGT, so Ron Tonkin Gran Turismo Ineos Grenadier. And so they're the Ineos dealership here in Wilsonville. And they did a great job. So once they received, the Grenadier, our actual rally rig, they did the final prep. So they kind of they installed the last minute items that we had, and they also switched the fluids, and they added the windshield wiper fluid. And
we changed the wiper fluid out to a -30, -40.
They concocted kind of I don't want to say a homemade solution because we can't get that cold of a fluid here in the U.S.
Well, not here in Oregon anyway.
Right, or in Oregon. I think they said in the U.S. you can't find something that cold, so we ended up blending in straight alcohol with what they could find was the coldest, because in Canada you can, but in the US they told me that you can't. So
it's pretty much just moonshine.
Yeah, moonshine. But I mean, they worked with what they had, right? I mean, so RTGT was great to work with on dealership level to help prep the vehicle for us to receive, knowing that we were the first people to really run the vehicle in this type of capacity, right?
And in a competition.
Right, in a competition level. I mean, we got the rig with 87 miles on it, and then rolled on it for a weekend, then handed it back to the dealership, and then Andy and I had to go to Canada for another OEM event, came back, received the vehicle essentially done.
Ready to go, and then drove it to the start line. Yeah, they did a great job, and we didn't have a lot of seat time before we took off for the start.
And people, people were like, hey, is it going to do this? Is it going to do that? How are you going to, how's it going to act? And we're like, we don't know. We'll let you know. We didn't know at that.
We'll let you know in 5,000 miles.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it was a learning experience for us.
It was fun when we posted this episode to go live a couple days ago. A friend of mine, and you may know him, Andy. He used to live in Washougal, then he moved to Alaska. But Joe Goodenough is his name, and he saw the Ineos as the cover photo for our topic tonight, and he said, "Hey, I think I saw that rolling down the street in Alaska." And
cool.
It's awesome that out of the blue, one of my friends saw you guys in Alaska driving this rig up there.
Oh, that's hilarious!
And he said his first thought was that that someone was driving a Land Rover up there. Right. That was a terrible choice in winter, which I thought was on point and hilarious.
We had a sticker in the window that said "Thanks, but it's not a Defender." So
amazing.
And that is thanks to RTGT of Wilsonville.
Has a QR code that goes to their dealer website.
Right.
So, with what type of recovery equipment did you guys need this time around?
Well, thankfully this time we didn't need any. The vehicle included the optional factory winch, which is manufactured by Red. We didn't need to use it. We carried the Max tracks on the top, which we also didn't need, and then some Fact 55 recovery gear. Luckily, we stayed out of snowbanks. I will tell you what, this year, and I don't know if this is because it's an El Nino year or what, but there just wasn't a ton of snow.
But when we got
anywhere other than Valdez, Alaska, and the photo, for those that are watching, is going over Thompson Pass to Valdez, and that was the snowiest, one of the snowiest places I've ever been. Thompson Pass was closed, both going there and back, and 60-mile-an-hour gusts. The worst visibility I've ever had in a snowstorm, and I grew up in the Midwest, in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and that was a terrible pass. So
Montana Dirt Road says, "Who makes that? Can you guys give a quick? You know what? No, I want to save that. Let's save that for after we're done talking. We're almost done talking the Alcan portion. So let's
Sure.
finish the Alcan, and then we'll jump into Grenadier
Yeah.
specifically. So
Sure.
or
Sure.
sorry, Ineos, I should say Ineos.
Right.
specifically.
Ineos,
Right.
yeah, Ineos is manufacturer.
Yeah.
Ineos Automotive.
Yeah.
So
you guys didn't use much recovery, didn't need to use any recovery equipment. So that's good.
Right, right.
No.
Thankfully, there were a couple of people that said they stuffed themselves. That seemed to be the theme or the word or the phrase this year. I stuffed myself, which was kind of odd. This is the first time I've heard of that. There was a Porsche. There was a couple other teams. They did receive some front end damage, but thankfully everybody was okay that I've heard of. There's a couple of other mechanical issues, some fueling issues with fuel filters and fuel lines and things like that. There was some medical issues that had happened that delayed some teams. But thankfully, out of all 36 teams that started, all 36 teams this year for the Winter Rally finished, which is yay, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. For the 40th year anniversary of the Alcan 2, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. It was the 40th anniversary, so that's kind of fun.
yeah.
I want to cut back to the tires because Andy said something that I was surprised to hear. So you said that you were really surprised by these tires. Are you normally a studded tire kind of guy, or
Yeah.
what surprised you?
Yeah. Every set of snow tires I've ever run have been studded.
Okay.
And so we opted to try a studless snow tire. In 2020, we ran a Nitto Exo Grappler that was studded. I had snow tires on some of my personal vehicles that were studded.
Other manufacturers.
Yeah. And we had one day where we did ice racing on Great Slave Lake outside of Yellowknife. And the organizer pointed out that the first, second, and third fastest times, I actually got the third fastest time of the day. We're all, thank you. Yes. The third fastest are all three fastest times of the day were on studless snow tires. So,
and they were all high ground clearance vehicles, and they were all 4x4s.
Right. But the idea was that, the studless snow tires have come a long way.
Yes, they have.
They're so much quieter and so
They're
much better
braking.
better braking is when you're not on snow and ice. So
And they're softer on the roads. I'm not trying to be
right.
That person, but like studded tires can tear up concrete and asphalt.
Yeah.
So.
I mean,
you don't necessarily want to be a heathen if you don't have to be.
but I mean, nobody likes those ruts we get in
No.
in the Pacific Northwest. And
No.
anyway, I can't speak it highly enough of those Michelin Excise tires. They did so well.
They've got siping in all the directions. That's pretty
Dude,
cool looking.
All the siping.
When I'm glad you're spending a little bit of time on that photo, because I took, that's one of the photos that I took. And now that I'm seeing it for a while, I mean, I took multiple thousands of photos, but sitting on that and seeing it, it's like they did their engineering homework. I mean, literally, they siped in every direction, and they've got so much technology that's gone into this. It is pretty incredible.
I will have to say too, that when I first got them, I was like, man, they look like car tires. They don't have big, deep lugs and all this stuff. And I hope that they work well, and they did. So.
Yeah, I experienced winter tires on a Subaru of mine, and it was phenomenal. Like I could stop on an icy hill, complete stop on an icy hill, and it was a stick shift modified turbocharged Subaru, and I could take off from a stop on a hill. And that just shows you how much traction they give you. So
it's like it almost makes you a snowmobile, right? I mean, and it's pretty cool. It's like I look back, we have been back. Let's see, we got back a week and a half ago or so. So I mean, we're still freshly back. They're both automotive journalists, and we've taken several thousand photos and videos. Yes, I know it's kind of crazy, but we had 3 different camera bodies. We had multiple GoPros, all that kind of craziness. We watched back so many different, we look back at all of our footage and stills, a lot of that, when you see the tires, they're all coated in snow. But Andy, you've got a good saying. Like, you know, you pack
I was
snow
at
on snow.
I was at a winter driving event in Bozeman, Montana this year, and they were explaining that one of the driving instructors said, "Have you ever made a snowball? You know, snow sticks to snow."
Yeah.
Every
And they
single
say,
one
yeah,
of the
the idea with the
photos-
snow tires is sort of the same.
Right.
All the snow tires always had snow on them.
Right.
So.
And so like almost all of the photos that I saw that were any of the vehicles, not just ours, whether they're studded or not studded, almost all of them, when they were just parked, had a whole full layer of snow on the tires. It was interesting for me to actually pay attention this year to see that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Last question for the Alcan, unless you guys have something else to cover here. What was the least capable vehicle out there?
There was a stock front wheel drive Mini Cooper.
But they finished it. I love
Yeah,
that
no, they finished.
It
So
was fantastic.
The car that you're showing right now is a 73 Mercury Capri with a mid-90s 302 in it.
And they've
And
won
studded
before.
tires. They won the entire
Yeah.
thing in 2020. So that thing is a force to be reckoned with, even with just rear-wheel drive.
Didn't they come in second or third this year too?
I think
Garza
so.
and Russ.
Yeah.
They came in like second or third this year.
Yeah, they run A&T
look at my
Tire
phone.
trackside racing in Portland. They do tires and wheels and alignments and whatnot. But that Mini Cooper it had snow tires. That was it, and it did get stuck on the ice racing. I think it got into a snowbank, but other than that, that was definitely the least capable vehicle. There was a Porsche 911 Dakar, but
They came in second.
it was all-wheel drive,
They
and
came in
Yes.
second.
that's a heck of a vehicle.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah.
Russ and Garza came in second this year.
it was definitely capable for what it was. So, and I will have to say, I'm going to just toot my own horn for a sec here. We took first place in our class.
Oh, yes.
So we actually amazingly won the 2 SOP class, which was the biggest class of 17 vehicles, and
Of
that was
36.
we took 10th overall, so which was pretty awesome. We were the only 2S vehicle in the top 10. So.
And a first-time manufacturer with a first-time vehicle is pretty incredible. So, I mean, hats off to Ineos to producing a great vehicle.
And to my mom for producing me.
Oh, yes. Thank
That
you,
was
Andy's
not-
mom.
Thank you, Mom.
Oh, Andy's mom.
That was not rehearsed at all. At all.
So one of those pictures showed 2 of the Grenadiers. So there was somebody
Yeah.
else that brought one. Was it
So
their
there was-
personal vehicle?
It was, yeah, it was a privateer
Wow.
team so Jeff and Marie out of Texas had actually brought theirs. They actually, their Land Rover owners, or hopefully they maybe still are Land Rover owners, they were planning on bringing their older Land Rover, and they were giving it a big, huge, thorough once over right before the rally. And their big whole impetus was they were going to bring it up and then they were going to sell it as their, grand last hurrah for the vehicle. And there are ralliers that do that. They actually, buy a vehicle, or they have their vehicle and then they rally it and then they just sell up in Alaska. It's been known to happen several times before. So that's one of the things they wanted to
Really?
do. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it is. It's a big thing. And so we're like, this is really interesting, but that's what they wanted to do when they were both rookies. And so, but I rallied alongside her in different 4x4 teams for the Raval rally several years ago.
Anyway, they
So
had this vehicle.
I knew her. And so we mentored them throughout the last couple of months with it. And so they said, long story short, they said, hey, we wanted to do our Land Rover. We wanted to drive our Land Rover, but we just found out that there are several $1,000s in repairs that need to be done in order to drive this successfully.
Crack
all the way up
transfer
there.
case, all kinds of expensive things.
Multiple things. So they're like, we
Typical
just
Land Rover stuff.
well, right. I mean, so they said we just got our Grenadier. We're going to have to take that if we want to stay in the competition. And so Andy and I said, hey, listen, if you're going to do this, we'd love for you to stay in the competition, but clear wrap your paint if you care about keeping your paint. Clear your windshield if you want to not have a cracked windshield. You probably will have a cracked windshield anyways. Your headlights, your fog lamps, the auxiliary smaller ones that are in there. Make sure to remediate your underbody when you're done, because you're going to have a thin layer of rust when you're done underneath it. et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we really extensively told them what we experienced with our Pajero when we got done in 2020. So yeah. And so I want to talk with them and actually in a week or two and see how they're doing and see how their vehicle fared. So yeah, we're really proud of them. They did great. I mean, they learned along the way and we helped them as we could, and other teams hopefully helped them too. And they were great to see them out there. Just super cool. Super, super cool.
I love the jerry cans on the side.
Yeah.
That looks
I
super
think
cool.
that was a Leitner thing. I think.
No, I don't know. It wasn't a Leitner thing. I thought it was a Swedish company or something.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Okay. I know Leitner does make a bunch of stuff. So.
Well, Leitner, no, it wasn't Leitner. It was somebody else. It was some other company. I can't remember the name of the company, but they'll know because they got that. I don't even know if it's a prototype rack or whatever. But anyways,
it's like Snow Runner.
Yeah, pretty much.
Travis in the comments says, is there a way for an average Joe to get involved, assuming they are competent and prepared for extreme winter driving?
Yeah,
absolutely. Alcan5000.com. This is not an invite only kind of event. It's not crazy expensive or anything like that.
Get on the wait list.
Yeah, it generally fills up. They allow 40 vehicles in the winter typically. And you just got to wait. You just got to, get on the list and sign up. So Alcan 5000 is like the Olympics where it's every 2 years and it's summer and winter. So every several years, they have to do, because of the way the calendar is, if they waited till 2026 to do the next one, there's quite a big time
2.5 years
gap.
Or something.
So actually next year they're going to do a 2025 summer and a 2026 summer and then a 2028 winter. So
you can sign up for the 2025 summer if you wanted to. The registration for that is now open.
Right. And they also allow, on the summer ones, they also allow motorcycles. So you can do this.
Oh my
on
goodness.
you can do this on a motorcycle.
Whoa. Solo. Or you can have a sidecar.
We've seen both. Yeah, most people do it solo. They'll have the route on a scroller, and there's also people that have done it on sidecars and gone with two people that way. But it's a heck of an event. It got in our blood and we love it, and we can't wait for the next one.
And one of the things,
sidecar.
Do it.
Oh, dude, it's so cool. And I mean, the biggest thing is it's such a grassroots effort. And in Andy and I being automotive journalists, we've been on so many podcasts. We've probably written, by now since 2020, maybe dozens of articles. If you look up our names in Alcan 5000, I'm sure everything just lights up on Google. But that being said, it's still a little known rally, even though it's been going on for 40 years. There is a closed group called Alcan 5000 Rally on Facebook. It's Alcan 5000, one word, then rally. But it's a closed group of a lot of the ralliers. So if you're interested in getting involved or signing up for the rally, it's really good. You have to ask to be involved, to be invited. And then, it's a private group. So you have to be okayed by the rally, to get involved or to get in it. But you can then ask questions or just read previous posts and things like that. And it's such a worldly wealth of information of questions or issues or this or that or whatever. And that's how we got involved. I mean, heck, we didn't know what the heck we were doing in 2020. I mean, 2018 is really how we got started with just local, couple hour long time speed distance rallies in Portland. And part of the times I still don't know what we think we know what we're doing. So it's just a lot of fun.
It sounds exciting. I want to get a motorcycle with sidecar just to see someone do it.
You have a motorcycle.
You should.
I have a 50cc scooter.
Challenge accepted.
That'd be kind of hard to do 650 miles of a transit in a day, but But it's been done in a Pajero, which we had 100 horsepower in 1991 when it was new.
but the fastest I ever got that thing was 30 miles an hour.
It's gonna take a while.
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh yeah, Montana dirt road.
What do you do for accommodations? Sleep in the regular motels? That's a great question.
It's we do have motel that is part of your rally.
Motels.
Part of your rally entry fee. So you're I think it was $3,800.
It was $3,800 was
that-
total fee for
and that
this year
includes
for team of 2.
hotel for 10 nights, and
10
then
nights,
you know
yeah.
staff that is putting this whole thing together. You're on your own for food and drink and all that stuff, but yeah, it does include accommodations. So.
And when we say motels or hotels, they're not like, you know, your normal Holiday Inns or, you know, Marriott's or something.
Yeah.
We're talking about the middle of the Yukon or Northwest Territories, where the last time they might have been, you know, renovated was when they were built in 1972. So, you
Some
know,
are better than others.
yeah, and some of them actually this
But
year.
we're not doing it to go visit the Ritz-Carlton. You know?
Right, and some of them this year were actually renovated-ish. So, you know, but it's not for us. It's a place to sleep in a, you know, a comfortable place that has heating, you know, when it's -40 down, you know, outside. So,
And
but
we got to see some pretty slick luggage carts too.
Yeah.
the luggage cart review.
I have to. Yeah, I have this. I do love me some luggage cart review, which I just can't help myself.
Do you have
know?
them all posted? I think.
I think I do. I think I've got them all posted from this time. So
Chuck says he's late to the party. Ignore it if it's already been covered. How does one win? Is it TSD style?
yes,
It is a TSD style. Yeah.
Yeah, so 0 points is the best. I don't remember
Yep.
what Satish, the winner, overall winner.
24.2.
Yeah.
24.4 seconds, but that was over 5,000 miles. But with the Alcan 5000 rally, there are also what are called extreme control routes, optional extreme control routes, and ice racing. So those also do factor in. So if teams don't take those optional extreme controls or they don't do the ice racing, those negatively affect.
They get docked 10
They
points.
get docked. So
Oh.
that comes into play. So you do have at least one TSD that starts every morning. Some days you have
2.
evening TSDs. So mind you, you'll have a morning TSD, and then you have to go up to maybe 600, 650 miles of TSDs
To make it to the second one.
to even make it to the second one, like Andy's saying already. To make it to the second TSD.
I got to get a word in edgewise somehow.
Well, because
so.
you'd never stop talking. But anyways, to make it to the second one of the day, and hopefully you're not on time or you offed yourself somewhere. Like sometimes I wish I could off him.
Oh,
but,
jeez.
but
It's a
then-
family show,
Yeah,
lady.
yeah, there you go. But then he's, you know, like he says in an article, lather, rinse, repeat for like 10 days. So.
So let's talk about this Grenadier. What were some of your guys' small favorite details that you guys liked?
Oh, yeah.
Driver.
So in the cargo area, it has
Yeah.
L-track built into the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why more manufacturers don't do this because it is
Mhm.
amazing for securing cargo. They included 6 of those little tie downs. You can move them around. We just had 2 ratchet straps to ratchet down everything. It works so well. And there are tie down points throughout the vehicle. The Grenadier is so good for carrying cargo because of this. So that was a really good thing. The other thing that I was really surprised about was the suspension. It's solid axle. It's a solid axle vehicle. It rides surprisingly well. But when we did the Dalton up to Coldfoot, the road is not good. It's pockmarked and potholed. And the suspension system soaked up all those bumps so well. I thought that, you know, it would just be kind of a handful, but it was surprisingly good on bad roads at speed. Mercedes,
I assume it's all coil sprung.
yes, it is. It's coil
Yeah.
sprung. Yep. Yeah. Did you have a favorite thing?
The Recaro seats were very nice.
Yeah, it has Recaros. Ours were not heated, unfortunately. They do have that as an option.
Yes.
Our vehicle
Yeah.
just happened not to have them, and it was fine. The heater in the thing felt like it had a chamber directly to the core of the earth, so it was plenty.
Oh, nice.
That's nice.
Nice.
Mercedes, you got to test drive one early on. How much changed on the interior from then to now?
Well, that's a really good question. I had actually a couple of different opportunities to drive them early on. I drove PTO2 prototypes, so early stage prototypes in France off-road when they still had, I don't even know what they had for seats, honestly.
Cardboard
But they had,
box.
cardboard box. But I drove left-hand drive petrol, but right-hand drive diesels in France with let's see, they had emergency shutoff, big red buttons on the dash. They had 3D printed center console buttons and all sorts of stuff because they were still literal prototypes. And then I was invited back to drive the Euro spec actual production versions in Scotland last year in January, February, I think it was. And I remember when I got to the production versions, I drove those on-road and off-road, and it was a few day long event. And I really appreciated the length of time that they gave to us journalists. I was one of the few North American journalists that was that had the opportunity to drive that because it gave you a sense to really sit behind the wheel. It wasn't like here's 20 miles and then you're done. You really had a chance to have that length of time. And I was very surprised at the refinement. I was very surprised at the off-road capability. A couple things I felt like were quirky. Some things I felt like needed to be worked on. But of course, it was a first-time manufacturer, first ever vehicle. I thought that they really hit a home run with an overall effort. So for Andy to have his first time driving it, especially over 5,000 miles, of a test course over 10 days of, snow and ice was pretty cool to see his take on it.
It's all an ZF 8-speed automatic. And then a BMW 3-liter. That's the B58 inline 6 turbocharged.
I wish they came in a manual. That was one of my questions to the engineers when I was over in Scotland.
Yeah.
I begged them to
the US
to make a manual.
North America also only gets the gas version. There is a 3-liter inline 6 diesel that other parts of the world get, but the North America only gets the gasoline engine.
The last I heard was, and this was back at the launch or the global reveal last year in January, February, was they were contemplating on Mexico potentially getting the diesel, but they said ixnay to the diesel for North America. I don't know if Mexico was going to get the diesel or not. I don't know, and I haven't asked since then.
Thanks, Volkswagen. It's all your fault.
Yeah.
How did it do with the cold temperatures? You mentioned the heater was kicking.
Yes.
No other issues.
We had only a couple of little tiny things, as I like to say, cars do weird things in cold temperatures, but so do people. And so, one morning at minus 27, I think it was minus 27,
27
in Yellowknife. Right? I went to turn the car on. It was the first really cold night. And it started up just fine, and then through a check engine code, I read it, and it was a low voltage scenario to the computer. I reset it, never came back on again, and we saw colder temperatures than that. Yeah,
so we brought a reader with us.
Yeah, and then it also threw. It wasn't a code. It was just said that power. It just said power steering issue or error or whatever it was. And it was the power steering. Everybody's power steering was heavy that morning, and that just went away, never came back again. Those are the only cold weather issues we had.
We just knew when it got that cold that we needed to take an extra 15-20 minutes to our time, add that in the morning, wake up like at 4 a.m. instead of like 4:35 in the morning, and trot the vehicle around very slow speeds and like circles around the parking lot, and just go really slowly. And just like get everything warmed up and like get, everything just kind of gelling together and just get
the fluids moving,
get the fluids going. And
a friend of mine who spent a lot of time up there back in 2020 told me, he said some people they just get it started and they just, mash the throttle and they head on out and they'll break pinions because it's so cold, 50 below zero. And you put that much stress on something metal. And so we, like Mercedes said, we'd get up a little early and drive some laps around the parking lot just to make sure everything was moving around. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go like granny speed.
Just literally
5
idling
miles
around.
an hour.
It's so cold your car needs a blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
seriously.
pretty much. But I mean, did great. It really did great. My eyeglasses were fogging up more than that thing had a problem. It's just like I'm sitting there and being like, hey, heat, please. Like, I need to see. So
Someone had told me one time, and I don't know if there's any truth to this or not, but that some heavy equipment or possibly even semi trucks, they would actually put them on dyno type rigs or jack them up so that they would just be in the air and then put them in drive and just let them spin all night long in gear,
Wow.
rather than shutting things down. So I don't know. Maybe that's in a really cool area, really cold area, but that seems excessive. But I just don't know.
I haven't heard of that. I've heard just people letting them idle all night long.
We've seen it.
You'll be driving through the boondocks, and there'll be like an excavator just chugging away. A little cloud of steam, and there's nobody in it. There probably hasn't been anybody in it for 2 days, but they can't turn it off because they'll never get it going again.
And I've seen rigs, whether they're petrol or, I mean, mainly trucks, whether they're commercial trucks or even personal trucks, diesel and petrol, just in the middle of the night or really early in the morning, just sitting there idling in a hotel parking lot. I've seen that too on a regular basis up there when it's -20, -30.
Yeah.
Now I can get that. I remember going to Montana for Christmas, and it was -20, I think it was. And like that morning, I went to go start the Forerunner, and it was like it did not want to go.
Yeah.
It turned over finally, but it was like, I better let you warm up for a little bit there, buddy.
Yeah. They protest, but they'll usually fire up. Just you having a battery that is topped off is really important. Get the battery that you can get that has most cold crank amps. Give it every opportunity to start.
Yeah. When I was in Nevada the weekend after Thanksgiving, I did some cold weather camping down there. And it was 8 degrees and 10 degrees for the cold lows overnight. So it's not quite as cold as Alaska, but my wife's F-150 had some really weird, it's got this radar on the front built in for the cruise control. It's got the adaptive cruise control, and it stopped functioning. And it only happened as I got into Nevada, and then while I drove around in Nevada. When I left Nevada and it warmed up and it was in the 30s, the problem went completely away. Super weird. So I'm guessing that maybe the circuitry shrunk and maybe it wasn't making good connection or something wasn't working in the radar. So
well, and that's one of the things too. You bring up a good point, Aaron. That one of those things is the Grenadier has less ECUs, less computers on board, and less technology. And so it's prone to less issue of that nature, especially at really cold temperatures or really extreme heat, especially if you're out in the field in the middle of nowhere or really remote conditions like we were. We realized that we were taking this car, that we were the guinea pigs, like I said, I think early in the podcast, that we were taking this vehicle with a first-time manufacturer to really extreme situations. And we had no idea. We had some inkling of what we were getting ourselves into because of what we did with the Pajero in 2020, but every year is very different. So we really didn't know, and nor did they really know. I mean, they had 1.1 million miles of testing in severe, warm, like the, Death Valley and Scandinavian Arctic with severe cold and this, whatever, all over the world with their testing with their vehicles. But, with production level, competitive level, actually out there and doing it on a post-production level, not yet. So, hey, let's try it and see what happens. So, thankfully everything worked out really great.
Yeah. I feel like they did their homework. I've not been following the Grenadier, but I've been checking in on the Grenadier ever since they first started making it. And I'm super happy about it. I'd love to own one. I don't have a use for one in my life, I don't think. But if I ever wanted to do some legitimate overlanding, this would be the vehicle to have. It's already outfitted. It's already got this proper suspension. It's got a lot of great features that make it just out of the box ready to go.
Right. And one of the other things too, that people might not know is it's got a lot of auxiliary wiring that's already done. So if you want extra wiring, or if you want an external winch and you don't have a winch already set up, like they come with red winches. If you don't order it from the factory, you could already it's already pre-wired for an extra winch or things like that. So
this panel, like if you're watching,
the panel,
all the switches that are closer towards the back of the vehicle, those are all pre-wired,
On the
and
ceiling.
there's Deutsch connectors. There's 4 Deutsch connectors, 2 Deutsch connectors on either side of the vehicle. So if you've got lights or whatnot, you can just hook lights up to it and clamp up to. They have bars and all that stuff. We had a light bar on the front of it. We weren't able to use it because of Canadian regulation, but and it was useless in snow because it was way up.
Sure. Yeah.
But but it was just you just flip the switch and a billion lumens right there. So
And again, I think that shows to Ineos as a manufacturer to think outside the box, because they didn't have a box to think within, because they're a brand new manufacturer, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they thought of, hey, we want to build a utilitarian vehicle to serve, fleet companies, serve people that are on farms, are, that are needing these at corporate levels, that are, needing to serve X amount of functions, and people that are overlanders and that want to go off-roading, enthusiasts and that type of thing. Let's build a vehicle to serve those markets and make it easy. So you don't have to drill through the firewalls. You don't have to do all these extra things that people struggle day in and day out to have to do. Among other things, right? The L-track system, like Andy mounted or alluded to earlier. I mean, that's one of the most brilliant things.
It works.
An extra thing too is they have a rated D-ring point in the
door jams in the rear.
Thanks, Andy. But that point too, which is the best thing. So for us, when we ended up putting all of our soft goods in the rear seats, we were able to ratchet those down. Who else does that? Nobody. It's the coolest, littlest thing. But for us, that was so critical for us to make sure our safety or our gear was safe. It was just, those touches were so important.
Well,
Not just your gear is safe, but it protects you as the occupants.
Yeah.
In case of an accident. Yeah.
Totally. You know what I mean? Especially with that type of thing, or even if you're off-roading, that is so incredibly important. And for us, safety is first. I mean, health, obviously, safety, that is absolute paramount.
Yeah. All right. I haven't heard this come out yet, so I got to ask this question. Very early on, you mentioned that it was the Trial Master version.
Yes.
What is the Trial Master?
So the Trial Master, there's 3 different model trim levels of the Grenadier.
Okay.
So there's the base Grenadier, and then there is the Field Master, which is, I don't want to say the more luxe version, but is kind of the more luxurious version, if you want to call it. And then the Trial Master is their most ruggedized, most off-road ready version of the Grenadier as a whole.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
I like that. That's great. What was the more luxury one called?
Field Master.
Field Master.
Field Master. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Field
right.
Master and Trial Master, all one word. Trial Master and Field Master.
So what features does the Trial Master have? Does it have like lockers, whereas the Field Master doesn't, or?
Right. That's a good question. How much time do you have? There's a lot of different features. So if you were to go to Ineos.com, IneosGrenadier.com, there's an English part of their site. They have a build site that you can aggregate which version you want. There's a lot of different features where you can say, here's a Trial Master and this is what I want, or a Field Master, this is what I want. Yes, you can get it triple locked, you can get a winch, you can get sliders, you can get steps if you wanted, not sliders. You can get the Rhino rack, the roof rack, you can get
snorkel. We had a snorkel on ours.
Right, those kinds of things. A Field Master, you can get like heated seats, you can get other things with it that that are optional on the Trial Master, but there's a huge assortment of aftermarket upgrades you can do with the Grenadier. They've partnered with Rhino Rack, they've partnered with different aftermarket companies to make sure that overlanders or enthusiasts or people that want those accessories can order right from the factory, which is pretty cool.
I'm getting a kick out of the fact they're using red winches, which you don't hear very often here stateside, because they're a UK company, I believe it is.
Right. Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, they were one of the first companies outside of the States that I remember having their the rings that they use for synthetic recoveries, the death donuts, as some like to call them.
Yeah. We didn't need to use the winch, but it was there if we did need to use it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I like the backstory, or the lore that I know of the backstory, where the guy who started the company reached out to Land Rover, said, "Hey, I'd like to buy your tooling," and they told him to kick rocks. So he's like, "Okay, I'll one up you guys. I'll make it awesome." And if that is all true, I really hope it is. He did an amazing job.
Yeah,
with
no,
his,
it
his
is
team,
true.
It pretty much is true. Yeah. So
Okay.
Jim Ratcliffe, yeah, the British billionaire and the CEO
Yeah.
of Ineos Group, the group that has, I believe it's 26 different conglomerations within and under Ineos Group, and Ineos Automotive is one of those 26 entities under Ineos Group, and he was the guy, Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
It was fun hearing that story when we were at SEMA, and actually because we got to walk around one at SEMA. It was probably the one vehicle we spent the most time around at SEMA.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking to one of the OEM manufacturers that does like
It's probably EGR.
Yeah, EGR.
Yes.
Yeah, so
it was
EGR manufactures the ladders, the rock sliders,
They do all
the
the metal-
steps,
metal
the bush,
stuff.
the bull bar, etc. Stuff. It's an Australian company, so but yeah, they had, I think, the only Grenadier there, and
I think it was the only one. So it was an early stage prototype. They had to ship back, and then I was going to get crushed like in a week later.
Oh man, I hate hearing that.
brutal.
I know.
Man, donate it to an
we're
orphanage or
disappointed too.
something.
I wish. Yeah, no, unfortunately, they can't do that. But I
Or
know.
trade school. Let a trade school tear it apart.
I
don't know.
wish. I wish.
Yep. Man.
Well, where
On that note,
yeah, where can our listeners find you, since they won't find that prototype?
yeah,
we could talk about rainbows and unicorns instead.
yeah, try to uplift it a little bit.
yeah. No, they can. People can find us. We're Crankshaft Culture, crankshaftculture.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram as Crankshaft Culture, YouTube is Crankshaft Culture, and Twitter as Crankshaft Cult. She is at Writer with Grit on Twitter, or X, or whatever Elon's calling it these days. So,
we posted a whole host and tons of Alcan 5000 rally coverage.
Yeah,
So
I forgot to mention that.
It's very recent, and you'll see tons of it in Ineos Grenadier coverage. I did exhaustive daily reels and tons of stories on it. I think I've got, I don't even know, 200 and some stories on Instagram that are saved in highlights bubbles. You'll be able to get all of your Alcan 5000 rally.
your fix.
Yeah. I was gonna say your fix is a good word for it. But yeah, check us out.
Do you have any news or magazine articles coming out that you can tell us about?
Lots.
Near
Yeah,
future?
we'll have quite a bit. We'll have I'll have an article in Wheels of Field magazine, part of the Peterson's Hunting network. Of course, we'll have more stuff on Crankshaft Culture.
Yep. All the stuff coming out. Let's see, via Vicarious, via Haggerty,
OVR
via
magazine.
OVR, via multiple different outlets, but they're all going to be different article slants, different topics, different photos. Everything's different.
They actually had a film crew this year on the Alcan, and doing a documentary film on 40 years of the Alcan 5000. So we don't know when it's coming out or anything yet, but they had a bunch of cameras and doing some cool stuff. So.
And I know that we ended up making GoPro video as well as in cockpit and just B-roll, and God only knows what that looks like. I have a ton
of video to go through because I am planning on putting together a YouTube video for our Alcan exploits.
We're going to do our own Crankshaft Culture YouTube video at some point. That's going to be a little bit down the road.
Yeah, I need Elon Musk to clone me first.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Anybody to clone. It doesn't have to be Elon.
You'll have horns, and I'm not going to say what else. Yeah, anyway.
You don't necessarily need a clone. You just need the implant that works now, right?
Whatever.
The Neuralink?
The Neuralink.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I'll take 2.
Oh,
You get an AI assistant and the Neuralink with the AI assistant could just write it all for you, just like deep
And like
dive into your brain and pull it
like an
all
old
out.
Radio Shack
no.
computer arm doing editing or something. I don't know.
No.
So,
on a dot matrix printer.
oh, I can hear that.
Oh, man.
Oh God. I think
Man,
we've all
world.
just dated ourselves
Some
there.
Tractor feed paper and oh man.
Yes.
Anyway,
Well, for those who are watching, I'm going to go ahead and play one of the reels here. I believe it's day 2.
I don't know what the negative temperature is. Hello. Incredible ride. Thank you, Chase.
And that was the last day.
that
Right?
was the last.
Yeah,
That was
I
the
don't
last
think that was-
one.
Yeah, that couldn't have been day 2.
That
No,
would have been
yeah.
a of the day 2.
Post rally.
Yeah, that was a bunch of reindeer on day 2.
Yeah.
No, the
Post
so
rally recap.
what that was it finishes in Anchorage the day before the Iditarod sled dog race. So they have the sled dog races, the inaugural start or the ceremonial start, and then it's all part of the Fur Rendezvous. There's a carnival. Our friend Chase Eckert runs the carnival there. So that was we had already shipped the vehicle. The photo
We just
from
dropped the vehicle off.
was at Alaska Auto Transport. The vehicle gets shipped back from Anchorage. So, but there's about 10 more of those on YouTube at Crankshaft Culture. So anyway,
It depicts everything that happened that led up to the moment of us being like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, we just won and we can relax. So yeah.
It's awesome that you guys, get to find out how quickly where you came in placed versus
Yeah.
having to wait like a week or so to find
Yeah.
out. Okay,
Yeah.
we got third. Sweet.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean that's thanks to something called the Richta Rally app, which is fairly new as only the last couple of years. And so the Alcan 5000 Rally has just instituted it wholly as of this year. And so we were able to, as of within minutes of maybe an hour or two or a few hours, find out our scores within that same day of where places were. Which is pretty cool.
So one thing they did this year was they actually had a Starlink, and the Starlink was on a car at the end, and you basically stopped there. You uploaded your time from the app to the Starlink, so they were able to get those scores out like
Earlier.
immediately versus
Oh,
having
wow.
to wait to the end of the day. So you
You
could
had no service
immediately
anywhere.
there's an app called Scoreboard that's part of Richta. And so you could immediately see your scores as long as they were updated.
So if you guys have 2 seconds more story, Andy, we should talk about the last like maybe half a minute or like maybe last 5 minutes of where we finished the rally. You were screaming because you thought we lost it. I was like, stop it. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
hold on.
know.
Real quick, what happened was the final standings came down to the last rally. And it was going to be
Wow.
it would either have us in first or not first. And then
With our buddy car and good friends.
Yeah, our friends John and Shane from Washington, they They were in second place and we were in first place.
Within
And
like 10 points,
we ran
20
the
points.
we ran the rally. We
seconds
didn't
of each
do
other.
as well as I'd hoped we would. And I'm like, there's no way we there's no way we won.
Oh no, you were screaming that in the car.
Yeah, and
Not
she's like, well, we don't know yet.
really-
We don't know yet. Anyway, we're driving back to town, and they're like, the media teams, they're like
Jumping
cheering
up
and
and down,
honking their
screaming
horns
at
at us. And we're like, I wonder if they know something we don't. Anyway, so then on scoreboard, she's like, I think we did it. I'm like, oh my God, no way. So we pull into the gas station and in comes second place, our friends John and Shane. And they're like, how'd you do? I'm like, well, I don't know. How did
I
you
don't
do? And
know.
he's like, we got a 15. And I'm like, you
Like
did
15
not. I'm like, that's
seconds.
awesome. He's like, just kidding. We got a 30. You guys won. We're like, oh my God.
I'm like,
That's awesome.
switch now.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it was, but that instant scoreboard kind of thing is a real nice touch.
Yeah. Talk about emotions. We
great.
were like, I mean,
Yeah.
like, oh, the emotions were like, so
It was
yeah.
great competition though.
Oh yeah, it was just amazing. So
It's a good thing. Good thing she didn't start hitting you in the car, right, Andy?
oh, he
oh,
was,
she did.
he would no,
So-
he was the one that was screaming. He's like, we're screwed. He's like, where we lost. We're I'm like, shut up, keep it together. I think we're okay. I think don't say that. I'm like, I'm trying to keep it together as the navigator because of course I've got these pieces of paper being like, I gotta get us back into town. And like he's like, we're lost. We're you know, like this is all happening in a steel box that we've been locked into for 10 days. And like, you know, tempers, it's a pressure
It
cooker.
can get a
no
little
matter-
cagey.
you know. So, you know, he thought that we're like long gone, we've lost, you know, whatever. And it's like, you just never know. And it's been on the flip side too. So you just have to communicate as best as you can. You have to try to work with each other and you just have to just, you know, make things chill of, you know, as best as you can. So it's all part of it.
Well, right on it. Well, it was great having you guys on and hearing about all of it.
Absolutely.
Next, I'm excited to see what happens next because I mean, you guys
Us
are
too.
doing the fun stuff.
Yeah, thank you for having us on. It was
Thanks for
great.
having us. It's always so much fun.
It is always a lot of fun.
Always. Next week we've got Spartan Ropes coming on, and there's a little surprise coming with that possibly, right, Aaron?
Yeah, we might have a giveaway. So make sure you tune in, figure out what you can do to win something from this giveaway. So and we also just want to close it out by thanking everybody who listens to us weekly, hanging in there with us as one of the longest podcasts. I don't want to say longest running, but we're kind of longest running. I meant like we run long. Our podcast is a run long podcast. We like to chat. We like to talk. We don't like to cut it off at an hour. We don't like to be like a little 45-minute episode. We like to talk, and you guys seem to like to listen. Nobody's written into us yet and saying we jabber too much. So, and I like it when people jabber. It's a lot of fun.
Have
So
us
we
on
appreciate
Reach
you
Out
guys.
Lots. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys do great. I only had like 8 questions in here. Normally we have like 20 questions for people. You guys easily fill in the blanks.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
motor mouth and motor mouth too. So, you know.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Andy and Mercedes, and we appreciate our listeners. Make sure you're sharing us with your friends, helping us grow, and God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Colby Valve and 4 Patriots to see all of their great products. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our Linktree account or by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, and be safe and courteous. Thanks for listening.
This is just now breaking news. Portland is still out of water. Thanks, Coy.
Yeah.